Hello, my name is Lucas, and I want to share with you the most transformative story of my life. My journey to learn English completely on my own. It wasn't easy, and for a long time, I thought I would never succeed. But today I can say that this experience changed not only my ability to communicate, but my entire perspective on what I'm capable of achieving. I remember that morning perfectly. It was 7:30 a.m., and I was in my bedroom, sitting in front of my computer, staring at a blank Google Translate screen. I had been studying English grammar for 3 years. I could read articles, understand movies with subtitles, and even write basic emails. But speaking, that terrified me. "Good morning, Lucas," I whispered to myself, feeling completely foolish. The words felt foreign in my mouth. I cleared my throat and tried again, louder this time. "Good morning. Today is Monday, and I'm going to practice speaking English alone." My accent was thick, my grammar imperfect, but something magical happened. I smiled. My bedroom became my first conversation partner, patient and non-judgmental. As days passed, my morning bedroom sessions evolved. I began describing my outfit. I'm wearing a red t-shirt and blue jeans. Then my plans. Today I need to study for my exam, and I want to watch an English movie. Soon I was having full conversations with myself about my dreams, fears, and daily observations. Starting each day speaking to myself built confidence and made English feel more natural. I learned not to worry about perfection, but to focus on comfort. 2 weeks into my solo practice, I discovered something that would change everything. While watching a cooking video on YouTube, I found myself unconsciously repeating the chef's words. "Add a pinch of salt," the chef said. "Add a pinch of salt," I echoed without thinking. I paused the video, realizing what had just happened. This was shadowing, a technique I had read about but never tried. Excited, I rewound the video and began deliberately repeating each sentence, trying to match the chef's rhythm and intonation. My shadowing practice became the highlight of my day. I shadowed cooking shows, nature documentaries, and news reports. Each session taught me something new, not just vocabulary, but the natural flow of English conversation. One evening, while shadowing a travel documentary about Canada, I noticed my pronunciation improving. The narrator's clear, measured speech helped me understand the melody of English, how some words are stressed while others flow together smoothly. The vast wilderness of the Canadian Rockies stretches endlessly toward the horizon, creating a breathtaking landscape. I repeated, my voice gaining confidence with each syllable. I learned that shadowing works best when you choose content slightly below your level, focusing on copying the rhythm and music of English, not just individual words. A month into my journey, I decided to record myself speaking. Using my phone's voice recorder, I began what I call my English diary, daily recordings where I talked about anything that came to mind. My first recording was painful to listen. 3 minutes and 38 seconds to 2 minutes of hesitant, broken sentences filled with long pauses, but I save it knowing it will be important later. Day by day, my recordings became longer and more fluent. I talk about my work, my family, books I was reading, movies I enjoyed. Sometimes I pretended to give presentations about topics I was passionate about, video games, soccer, my grandmother's recipes. After 3 weeks of recordings, I listened to my first attempt again. The difference was shocking. My recent recordings flowed naturally with fewer pauses and more complex sentences. I was actually thinking in English, recording myself for just a few minutes daily, and comparing recordings weekly showed me progress I hadn't noticed day to day. My confidence grew, and I began incorporating English into my daily routine through narrative practice. As I made my morning coffee, I narrated my actions. I'm filling the kettle with water. Now I'm waiting for it to boil. The sound of boiling water always reminds me of rain on the window. This technique transformed mundane activities into learning opportunities. While cooking dinner, I described ingredients and processes. During my evening walk, I observe and describe my neighborhood in English. The old church on Sao Paulo Street looks beautiful at night. The streetlights create interesting shadows on the sidewalk. Mr. Antonio is walking his dog again. He does this every evening at the same time. These daily narratives help me develop what I call thinking vocabulary, words and phrases that came naturally because I use them in real contexts. Turning my daily routine into English practice by narrating simple actions first, then adding emotions and memories, connected English to my real life, making it more meaningful and memorable. One evening while practicing my usual solo conversation, I had an idea. Instead of just talking to myself, why not practice specific situations I might encounter? I began with simple scenarios, ordering food at a restaurant, asking for directions, introducing myself at a networking event. I played both roles. Native speakers ask follow-up questions, express surprise, and show empathy. I began incorporating these conversational techniques into my solo practice and role plays, diversifying my listening practice with educational content that built vocabulary, news that developed formal language skills, entertainment that taught colloquial expressions, and audiobooks that improved storytelling language gave me a comprehensive foundation. My English journey took another leap forward when I decided to revolutionize my reading practice. Instead of struggling through difficult novels, I began with materials at my comfort level and gradually increased complexity. I started with short news articles, then moved to feature stories, opinion pieces, and eventually novels written in clear modern English. But my breakthrough came when I began reading aloud. Reading aloud transformed my understanding of English rhythm and pronunciation. I could hear how sentences flowed together, where natural pauses occurred, and how punctuation affected speech patterns. One evening, while reading a short story about a man traveling solo through South America, I realized I was no longer translating in my head. I was thinking directly in English, understanding the story as naturally as if it were written in Portuguese. Reading aloud for 15 to 20 minutes daily connected my reading, speaking, and listening skills simultaneously. 6 months into my journey, I felt ready for real conversations, but I wanted to be thoroughly prepared. I developed what I call conversation banking, preparing topics, questions, and responses for various social situations. I researched conversation starters, practiced expressing opinions on current events, and prepared personal stories I could share. Most importantly, I practiced asking follow-up questions and showing genuine interest in others. I created themed conversation banks, travel experiences, food and culture, work and career goals, hobbies and interests, current events, and personal development. I practiced these topics in my solo sessions and role plays until they felt natural, preparing collections of topics, questions, and personal stories I could draw from, and practicing transitioning between topics and asking follow-up questions made real conversations flow more naturally when they finally happened. The opportunity came unexpectedly. At a local coffee shop, I overheard two tourists struggling to understand the menu. They were speaking English, clearly not native speakers themselves, but they needed help. Taking a deep breath, I approached them. "Excuse me, are you having trouble with the menu? I'd be happy to help." The conversation that followed lasted 20 minutes. We discussed coffee preferences, local attractions, and cultural differences. I found myself naturally using techniques I had practiced, asking follow-up questions, sharing relevant experiences, and even making small jokes. When the tourist thanked me and said my English was excellent, I felt a surge of pride. All those months of talking to myself, shadowing videos, and recording myself had prepared me for this moment. My first real conversations didn't have to be with native speakers, and practicing with other learners in low-pressure situations built confidence for more challenging interactions. A year later, my English journey continued, but now it was enriched by regular conversations with colleagues, neighbors, and new friends from my online conversation club. My daily practices had evolved, but remained consistent. Every morning, I still greeted myself, but now in fluent, confident English. My shadowing practice included challenging content like university lectures and political debates. My voice recordings have become a journal of personal growth, documenting not just language improvement, but life experiences. I realized that my English journey had taught me more than just language skills. It had shown me the power of consistent daily practice, the importance of patience with myself, and the joy of connecting with people from different cultures. Language learning became a lifelong journey where I maintained daily practices even after achieving fluency, continuing to challenge myself with new types of content, accents, and conversation topics. Today, I run online workshops teaching others my self-study techniques. My favorite part is showing new learners that they already have everything they need to succeed: themselves, their dedication, and the willingness to practice a little bit every day. I always tell my students, the English you need is already inside you. These techniques just help you. Bring it out. Your bedroom is waiting. Your voice recorder is ready, and your daily life is full of opportunities to practice. The only question is, are you ready to begin? The key lessons I learned were simple but powerful. Start each day speaking to yourself for confidence building. Copy native speakers to improve rhythm and pronunciation. Track progress through daily recorded practice. Describe your activities to connect English to real life. Practice specific situations you might encounter. Use various audio content types for comprehensive skills. Connect reading, speaking, and listening simultaneously through reading aloud. Prepare topics and questions for social situations. Start conversations with other learners or in casual settings, and maintain daily practices while continuously challenging yourself. Remember, consistency beats perfection. Practice builds confidence, and every small step forward is worth celebrating.